Yes, yes, yes. We are live all the way from Paris. I have to play this song because I know a lot of women entrepreneurs, they are on fire. You're going to hear for some today. So go ahead, tag a friend, grab a friend, make sure they are here. Log into our exclusive Facebook community because it is going down today. Ladies and gentlemen, I know that Women's Day is over, but it is still Women's Month. And with that being said, stay tuned. Yes. On top of the world. Sing it with me. Yes. Feet on the ground. Burning it down. Because guess what? Yes. Unashamed, unmuted, and unapologetic. Yes. Why? Because guess what? Yes. Wherever you are, if you're sitting in your seat, go ahead and stand up. Run around your living room. Run around your kitchen. Drop that spatula. You are on fire. Yes. For those of you who are watching us live, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, as well as our exclusive Facebook group, I'm going to tell you who I am in a minute, but right now it's irrelevant. Right now it's about Women's Month. It's all the women who came before us to pave the way for us to have equal pay, for us to have the same careers, the same jobs. Yes, yes. They say every hero has their theme music, and so that is my theme music, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dr. Tina D. Lewis, and I am in Paris, France. We just had an amazing, amazing event, and I am still here. Why? Because I wanted to have some lamb chops. Yes, real, authentic. We went shopping, and now we're in a very small, intimate restaurant. And I said, "Hey, do you have a private space?" And they came back with the answer was no. But guess what? I will be unashamed, unapologetic because I am a committed to the commitment. Most importantly, I'm committed to the community, and I am here. I didn't come alone. You would never catch me alone. I'm always going to have another powerhouse, another rock star, another innovator, another woman entrepreneur that is on fire. Matter of fact, I'm sitting at the table with a couple because the restaurant is so small. We're going to be shifting around. And for those of you who are not accustomed, you want structure, you want everyone to speak on time and things of that nature. This is not the Sunday for you with Global Women Speakers because we are authentic, we are live. It's not pre-recorded, so everything can look so pristine. We're here to show you not just the success strategies that we have, the hacks. We're not here just simply to show you the systems that we implemented. We're not here just to simply show you the 6, 7, 8, and 9 figures that we've earned. We're also here to show you our failures because that's the most important. We're going to expose a lot today. Matter of fact, I have a rock star all the way from Australia. And if you know anything about Aussies, they show up and they show out. And once again, ladies, Dr. Tina D. Lewis, we are here on our 11th Sunday Speaker Series of 2023. We've had Les Brown, the #1 motivational speaker in the world. We had Kevin S. Harper, who has 25 businesses. 2 of them are 8-figure. We've had Kate Hancock, a very dear friend and mentor of mine. She took $20 and turned it into $20 million via Amazon arbitrage. And the lady that I'm going to bring up right now in a moment, I'm going to tell you this. Invite a friend, go on YouTube right now, log into your LinkedIn. I want you to be present and I want you to be engaged, whether you are catching the replay or you watching this live. The time is now. Listen, ladies, it is not just your time. It's not just the century, the era of the woman. It is your turn. And with that being said, I am going to bring a friend, a colleague, and one of our newest members, get this, of Global Women Speakers. She is high caliber. Membership has its privileges. We don't just align with anyone. It's called alignment before assignment. And what she's doing in Australia, she is committed to doing around the globe. And so, ladies, if you want to learn from a woman that has been in a male-dominated space but still maintains her femininity, then you want to listen up because I am going to bring to the forefront. I'm going to get out the way, but I am going to introduce you to none other than the Kiani Mills. Woo! Yes, yes. Kiani, oh my goodness. Now listen, you just came from a winery, if I'm not mistaken. You were in Paris. You went to a winery and now you're back in Paris and then you're going to Australia. Talk about global women speakers. I love it. So Kiani, introduce yourself. Tell them who you are. Are you a wife or you're a mother? I mean, are you a sales lady? Or are you in real estate? Like, tell them who you are and what you do. So Kiani, over to you.
Oh, thank you so much, Tina. And yes, I was at a beautiful winery in the south of France. And thanks to the strikes we've had, I've spent 9 hours on trains today to get back. So
did you
it's
say
not all
9
glamorous.
hours? 9 hours on a train because of the strikes here in Paris.
Yep.
And so we talk about being authentic. Here's a young lady that came all the way from Australia to go to Paris. She had an absolute blast. And why not, if you're in the vicinity, go to the winery, go to Venice, go to Italy, just have a blast. And it took her 9 hours. So it's not always what it seems. I always tell people they see our glory, but they don't know our story. No, so Kiani,
that's
9
right.
hours.
It's not all glamorous, but it's worth it. It really is.
Wow, not glamorous, but it's worth it. So speaking of being worth it, so tell us about your family life. Like, I want you to not just share how you created 7 figures redundantly over and over again, but I love to be transparent and authentic. I want them to know some of the things that you had to go through. You know, the sexism, the racism, like all of those isms that you had to go through being in a male-dominated industry, but you prevail, right? You prevail. As a matter of fact, men are coming to you saying, hey, teach me. Can I hire you? Like, what do you do? They want to partner you. So can I tell our listeners? Matter of fact, for those of you who are watching live via Facebook, or you're watching on YouTube, or you guess what? You're just on LinkedIn because you're just that professional. You're like, I'm on LinkedIn. And that's great. But what I would love for you to do is truly grab a pen and paper, take copious notes. She's going to share some real life hacks. I heard her speak this weekend. She is a global speaker. And that's why she is a part of Global Women Speakers. Duh. It just simply makes sense. And not only are you going to see her on our Sunday speaker series, she will be local in Australia because we're having an event there, but she's also going to be at events in the States. She's going to Madrid and maybe some of the other places. All I can tell you is write down this name, Kiani Mills, 7-figure real estate investor, and so much more. So Kiani, I am going to move out the way. I'm going to move myself to the background and move you to the forefront because that is my life's work, putting other women on stages around the globe. So with that being said, on the count of 3, Kiani, it's over to you. 1, 2.
Oh, thank you, Tina. Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure, a whirlwind trip, and even the better to have been able to meet the amazing women that I've met. And yes, I mean, I was raised absolutely in a male-dominated industry. I've been in the property industry for over 15 years now, and I live and I breathe it. I am a single mother of 2 beautiful, beautiful children, aged 13 and 11, and they are my pride and joy. And look, as a mother, as a parent, as a friend, as a business owner, as, taking care of others, as women, we are natural nurturers. We are innately built to help and provide and be that stepping stone for people when others are in need. So I've definitely been in that situation throughout my life, and business really gave me a real sense of purpose. It gave me clarity in that sense of who am I outside of being a mum. And it really gave me that bridge to success that I was really craving my whole life. And for me, I found that space exhilarating, like really, really exhilarating, especially with the property. Property, you could buy a tiny little car park for $15,000, or you could buy a tower or a shopping center for multi-millions of dollars. And it became really alluring. And I watched these people who, in my mind, were successful. They had the car, they had the boat, they had the clothes, the house, they had all of that. And that became that treat on the top of the hill that I wanted to do anything in my power to get to. So I learned and I listened and I immersed myself in that environment. I took everything I possibly could from it, the good, the bad, definitely the ugly. When you're in that kind of an industry, especially a male dominated industry, as a young female too, I mean, I was 27 when my first business hit 7 figures. And to me, that felt like the most elating moment of my life until I realized that I'd kind of done it all backwards. So
No,
it gave me a real
Kiani,
opportunity to start from the
Kiani,
start.
Kiani, here on Sunday Speaker Series, we have something called a pause break because women are so accustomed to sheltering, to hiding their successes that they run over them in conversation. So I want you to back up a little bit. Let's reverse just a little bit, right? So when you made your first million, how old were you?
27.
You made your first $1 million at 27 years old. So you was not
Yeah.
in a master program. You were not pursuing doctorates. You were not getting married. You were making $1 million. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
that is badassery. Now that is
Yeah.
powerful. I love that.
Mm.
And so single mom, two beautiful children, two girls, boy, girl.
Boy and a girl. Yeah.
Wow. Look,
Yeah.
we have Jen. She says, I'm late. I'm 40. Hey, let
Never
her
too
know she's
late.
never late.
Absolutely. Never
Yes,
too late. And
yes.
I
And
think
so,
the scary thing as women is that for me, that first, I'm going to call it milestone, I didn't stop
right.
and enjoy it. I went straight past it. I went, how do I do this again? Or how do I get more? I didn't enjoy it. It's not until recently that I've actually sat back and realized how big of an experience that was.
Wow. I'm
Because we
glad you
do.
shared that. I'm glad you shared that for multiple reasons. Number one was that when we hit accomplishments, we're so laser focused and goal driven that we don't take time to enjoy it. You said you made your first million at 27 years old and you didn't enjoy it then. You hit another, you set another goal, hit that goal, made another goal. And I just
Yeah.
remember when I made my first 6 figures in 45 days, I was like, okay, I did it. So what's next? Like what's next? So then I'm like, okay, let me see if I can make seven in a record time, right? But we didn't stop to enjoy it. And so when I
Mm.
created my first 6 figures in 45 days, I created the 6 figure incubator because I said this is simple. We just have to do more of it. And if you have a strategy, if you have a roadmap, if you have a blueprint, we can do those things over and over and over again. So if you had to pick a blueprint or a strategy, if someone new, brand new, let's say, because people are watching, they're watching
Mm.
from Facebook, they're watching in LinkedIn, they're watching on Twitter, and they're actually inside of our group. And so what I would like to ask you, if you had to give someone a blueprint, a strategy of creating 7 figures, what are some of the things, like what would it be?
Oh, look, the beauty of starting, and I think this came up a lot at our Paris conference, was it all starts with the why. Why are you doing what you want to do? And if that why is strong enough and that passion is strong enough, then the blueprint will work over and over again. I think what we've learnt here is about passion and following our passions. And if we're passionate about something, we can make it work. And for people like you and I, Tina, we are now passionate about helping others create their wealth and create their journey through these blueprints so that they can make these dreams become a reality, because that is why we're here.
Making those dreams a reality. You said that's why we're here. That resilience, that bulldog tenacity, right? Like we will not die with our dreams. And I heard it once
No.
said, Kiani, that the graveyard was the wealthiest place on earth because oftentimes people die with their dreams. They die with that cure. They die with their
Yeah.
book. They die with that invention. And so I am so honored that you said, I am going to die empty. I am going to give the world everything that I have. And me too. We are women who are committed to making sure that we impact the lives of other people. And so Kiani, you shared those things, that the resiliency, the tenacity, and You shared all of those things that you have. So what I would like is, tell me, like, you've created multiple seven-figure businesses. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, I applaud you and I honor you on doing that. My question to you is, what you did, is it because you just have this mojo that no one else has? Or is it that it's a strategy or a system that you can teach other
Yeah.
people so they can implement it
Yeah.
as well? So let me know about that, Kiani.
Good question. Of course, as I said, it starts with the why. We've got to love it. We've got to have the passion. We've got to have the mojo. It doesn't work without it. But yes, it is a system. And it takes time, or it took me time to formulate the system and to make sure that it didn't only work in my businesses, that it worked in other businesses that I wasn't leading. So no, I wasn't the magic formula. The formula is the magic, and that is something that others can have. Now,
Wow.
having predominantly lived my life in the real estate world, property, while every market is different and
Wow.
every country is different, there are some fundamental rules across the property market that are absolutely the same. And this was true where I was speaking to people in Paris who lived in New York and who lived in Texas and who lived all around the world. It doesn't matter where you are, there are fundamental similarities that will be the same. And for me, the biggest one is that cash is king. Cash is absolutely king because we don't know what's going to happen in the world that we live in. So people think that dying with debt is a really bad thing. But do you know what? There's two things that we're sure of in life, and that is taxes and debt. So become comfortable with debt if you want to make money in property, because not all of us have a disposable income where we can go and buy multi properties and invest that way. A lot of us need to leverage the bank, and the bank is
Right.
universal, whether it's the bank that gives us the money or the bank of mum and dad, whichever way we start, it doesn't matter. But know that cash is king. Make sure you've got a cash reserve in your bank, and you will always be able to leverage off your blueprint and be able to buy the next property when it comes up at a time that is supposed to be bought, not when your financial pocket tells you it should be bought.
Wow, that was powerful. I'm gonna need you to repeat that last sentence again. Like, how can you tell that it's time, right? That it's time to buy property.
Yeah.
Like,
And
I
it's
need that last
generally,
sentence.
yeah,
Not when
it's
your pockets
generally
tell you, but when you have the cash reserves. I love that.
correct. Yeah, it's not, because generally when you're told to buy property is when
Right.
the masses are buying property and when the media is telling you to buy property. But in an investor's world, the best time to buy property is when everyone else is sleeping. So in Australia, now
Wow.
is a great time to buy property because we've just had some really high interest rates. Interest rates will go up and they will go down and they will fluctuate. However, to find those golden nuggets, the best time to do it is when everyone else is waiting for the market to drop, waiting for interest rates to drop, just waiting. That is the time a good investor pounces and makes the best investments of their life.
Okay. Well, Kiani, you were in Australia. You said it's a great time to invest in Australia. And so for global women speakers, we don't believe that you can only be compensated in the currency of your birth origin, right? Like I'm American. I was
Right.
born in America. And so I believe that I need to get paid in pesos, euros, dirhams, euros, right? And so if you are a, I would say not just an investor, I would say, you guys, she is a visionary because she gets there before everyone else does. She is salmon. She swims upstream instead of swimming like goldfish with everyone else. And so, Kiani, would you say that if I was to get a group of women together that are looking to invest, maybe for the first time or the second time, or just seasoned investors, to invest in Australia, would you be able to guide us for a project?
Absolutely. The biggest rule that I have in investing is never invest in your own backyard.
Wow. No, no, no. I want you to say that again. Say it for the people in the back.
Never invest in your own backyard. And I'll tell
Wow.
you why. And that's because if you invest in your own backyard, it's emotional. and you have an emotional attachment to it. But when we're investing to make money, and we want return on our money. We want to put our money to work. We want our money to work for us. And it's not going to work for us if it's an emotional investment.
Decision.
Only if it's
I love that. Okay, so I just want to reiterate what you just stated. You said one of your key points of investing is never to invest in your own backyard, because when you invest in your own backyard, you're saying that it's emotional. It's an emotional decision. You're like, I want to invest here because I grew up here. I want to invest here because my grandma's house was on this street. I want to invest here because I used to go to this high school, right? But when you're investing outside of your comfort zone or outside of where you were raised or the emotionalism, you make logical decisions. You say, you know what, I'm going to invest here because this is where I'm going to have the most ROI. I am going to invest here because it's most profitable. I'm going to invest here, and you fill in the blank. So I love that philosophy that you carry. I think that's pretty awesome. It's incredible. And that's why you are this 7-figure realtor. I'm blown away, Kiani. For you to be one, female, number two, so knowledgeable, and number three, a beast at investing. I always tell people I don't mind being a copycat as long as I copy the right cat. And I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, Kiani Mills is the right cat. I hope you're taking notes. I hope you reach out to her. I pray that the knowledge that she's giving you, that you say, you know what, it may not be for me right now, but you want to become equipped and empowered. So guess what? So when you're coaching, when you're training, when you're networking, that you may be able to be a bridge to someone else who needs exactly what Kiani has to offer. So Kiani, okay, a couple more questions. Like, that's just awesome. So yes, we would love to invest in Australia. I would love to see what you have so you can help us invest abroad. Period.
Yeah.
We need to get a group of women together. Ladies, listen, it's okay if you don't have the credit. It's okay if you don't have the money. Because here's the saying, NODIA, NODIA, no one does it alone. No one does it alone. And so if we can have Kiani, that is a native of Australia, but not just a native of Australia. Listen, get this. She's a beast native. It's a difference, right? Some people are just born places and other people dominate their marketplace. And that's exactly what Kiani has done. So Kiani, I would like to ask you, what has been your biggest investment there in Australia or beyond?
Financial or
in regards to real estate? Yes.
Yeah. The biggest thing that we see work really, really well, especially in Australia, I'm going to keep it with Australia because we have a really cool thing that we can do here, which is blocks of land. So there was one lady that I met at the conference actually who owned a block of land, and she goes, what should I do with it? And I said, great, that's a really good question, because starting with a block of land is the best place to start, because the land is the most expensive thing. So depending on where we buy, it's buying a block of land and then building not just one house, maybe 6 or 7 or 8 or whatever you can fit on it. But we can create what's called syndicates, which is where
Kiani didn't say buy a land and build a house. That's not what she said. She didn't say buy land and build a duplex, right? Or a fourplex. That's not what she said. So Kiani, I want you to reverse a little bit. And, I'm glad that you're bearing with me on bringing these questions to the forefront, because here's the deal. Most of us, you do this all day long. There's something called unconscious competence, meaning you're unconscious because you do this every single day.
Yeah.
And you put in your 10,000 hours to become that expert. But there are some of us that this is our first time hearing it. So it takes a little repetition. Repetition is the mother of skill. You guys say it with me. Hashtag repetition is the mother of skill. So really quickly, you said, get the land because the land is the most expensive, and then do what with it? Kiani, back over to you.
The more places, the more houses, units, whichever you build, the more you can put on the block, the easier it's going to be for you to, number one, make your money back. And number two, the more that we build, the less the cost, or the more the costs go down. So the less it actually costs per block. So when we're looking at a giant parcel of land, and building costs should probably sit at around 150,000 per lot, the bigger the lot gets, the less it costs. So the last development that we looked at, it was 100 lots. That's massive, 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 but 100 lots, and the build cost went down to $80,000 per lot. So that's a massive decrease from 150,000 down to 80,000. So when we can look at things on a bit more of a larger scale, then we're able to minimize the costs, which means that we can make more profit across the entire project. And that's what we're looking for. And there's a great story, and Tina, I know you'll appreciate this story because it's a Richard Branson story. He actually got put into a situation when he wanted to release the first plane that had TVs in the back of the seats. And so he went to his bank and he said to his bank, can you please lend me $7 million to put TVs into the back of the seats on the plane that I already own? And the bank said, sorry, Mr. Branson, we can't do that for you. And he went, okay, what am I going to do? So he went home, went to bed. He tells the story that he was staring at the ceiling and it came to him in the middle of the night. And in the middle of the night, he picked up the phone and he called Boeing and said to Boeing direct, Boeing, I want to buy 10 planes off you. And they said, oh, Mr. Branson, we can definitely help with that. And he said, great, but I need you to put TVs in the back of every single seat included in the price for those 10 planes. And they said, sure, Mr. Branson, we can make that happen. So he went to the bank the very next day for a $2 billion loan from the bank to buy his 10 planes with TVs in the planes. And the bank said yes. So that is a large scale, but this is where, if we don't dream big, we don't get the results.
Time out, time out, time out. This is a pause break. This is what we have pause breaks for, because people were listening to the story, but they could not get on, right? And so I love Richard Branson, and I love his stories and his business acumen more than anything. And so tell me again how Richard Branson got 10 airplanes with TVs in the back of every single seat, which we probably know as Virgin Atlantic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I want you to tell that story again, because he did creative financing. And so, ladies or gentlemen, if you're watching this live, hashtag live. If you're watching the replay, hashtag replay. But here's the deal. Here's a story about Richard Branson, a billionaire who used creative financing to buy 10, not mini planes, not charter planes, 10 mega passenger planes. And so, Kiani, share that story. So take two, the Richard Branson story. Okay. Over to you. Over to you.
All right. All right. So Richard Branson tells this story. It was right at the very, very start of Virgin, and he wanted to be the first company to ever release a plane with TVs in the back of the seats. Because back in those days, they had TVs hanging from the ceiling. They had the same movie on loop. But in order for him to put TVs in the back of every seat on one plane that he currently owned, he asked the bank to give him a loan of $7 million, to which the bank said, no, Mr. Branson, we cannot help you. So he laid in bed that night, staring at the ceiling, trying to figure out what he was going to do. And it came to him in the middle of the night, and he picked up the phone. He was in a different time zone, and Boeing was awake at that time. So he went direct to Boeing, and he went to the senior salesman at Boeing and said, I would like to purchase a fleet of 10 planes. And they said, sure, Mr. Branson, no worries, we can help you with that. So he said, but I would like to make sure that every single plane has a TV in the back of every single seat. And they said, sure, Mr. Branson, we can make that happen. So the very next day, he went back to the bank with a proposal to borrow $2 billion to put TVs in the back of every single seat on his new fleet of Boeing planes, a fleet of 10 planes, to which the bank said yes. He was creative. He thought big. He didn't see the problem that was in front of him and try and fix the solution in front of him. He saw the bigger problem and found a solution to fix the entire problem. Not only did he have one plane, he had 10 planes, and he was then the biggest fleet. He was going up against, I think it was American Airlines. I can't remember who his competitor was, but moral of the story, you can start with one house on one piece of land, or you can buy one piece of land and build 10 houses. Tony Robbins says it as well. Don't worry about trying to figure out how to build the one house. Figure out how to build 10, and then the one house is going to be easy. So I hope that was a good recap for you.
Boom. Boom. That was an amazing recap. Cheers, everyone. I have to drink some water. But absolutely, that was an amazing recap. And one day when I'm not interviewing, I am definitely going to share my Richard Branson story. The man's heart is amazing. His mind is ridiculous. I have so many from the time I spent on his island. But what I will share is that to go to his island, I had to invest $25,000. I didn't have it, but American Express had it. And I used my American Express Platinum card and just to pay for it. I was literally willing, Kiani, to lose my card because I didn't know how I was going to pay $25,000 cash at the time. I had no idea. It's not like I could have gone to the bank and just, asked for $25,000 out of my account. I did not have it. It's not like I could have been a Richard Branson and said, hey, listen, do you want to go to Necker Island? It'll be $50,000 and then I'll pay for mine. I wasn't there yet. So ladies and gentlemen, but mostly ladies, no matter where you are right now, you may not be there at that creative financing or at that visionary or that innovator. You may not be there yet, but you will be. And that's why every single Sunday Speaker Series of 2023 is going to bring the best of the best, the women entrepreneurs who are making a contribution and not just making a contribution to their industry, to their communities, to their countries, but to the world as a whole. And Kiani is doing exactly that. And we have maybe like 15 minutes left. But what I would like to do with these 15 minutes is I would like to have you do three things. One, how many of you honestly would love to have a coach, a mentor that literally can take you by the hand and walk you through a system, a process, a template, a blueprint to scale your business. Your business may not be $1 million business yet. You may not even desire $1 million business. But let's just get you to that $2K a month, that $5K, or that 5-figure a month income. And I recommend Kiani Mills without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt. All I know is success leaves clues. Did I say success leaves clues? You can't lead where you've never been. You can't give what you don't have. And you can't teach what you don't know. And Kiani is a beast when it comes to real estate. And I see we have Jen said, I want $2K a month to start. That's right. I love it. I love it. You guys keep it coming. Comment if you're watching this live or if you're catching the replay. And I'm here to tell you that next week, it's kind of funny because she doesn't know it yet. But next week, she said, I love Kiani Mills. Yes, that was Jen all the way from Venezuela. That's awesome. Yes, it makes a lot of sense. Yes, it does make a lot of sense. And so Kiani doesn't know this yet, but she's coming back next week. Let me tell you why. We both are in Paris right now. She's not jet lagged, but train lagged. She was on a train for 9 hours, so she is train lagged. I have been up like 2 nights consecutively in a row. I leave tomorrow, and so I am exhausted. But you know what? We show up. Sunday Speaker Series will happen no matter what. One monkey doesn't stop a show, even if that monkey is Tina D. Lewis. Not one monkey stops a show. Kiani showed up. I showed up because we're here to deliver, to empower, to equip, to elevate, and to put women in their rightful positions. And that is on top. And we're not saying on top of men or on top of any other place. We're just saying that you should be number one, that you belong at the top of whatever that may be. For myself, I know I belong at the top of the income earners. I know that I belong at the top caliber of travel. I love first class. I don't travel first class all the time. Coming to Paris, I didn't travel first class at all. Going back, I'm not traveling first class. But when I go to Dubai, it's first class, baby. And so you just choose the money that I would have invested first class coming to Paris. I bless other women. I have secretly, I'm not gonna say what I've done, but I can say that I've invested in other women's businesses with my time, which is our most valuable asset. And stay tuned for the results. But the reason why I bring that up, Kiani, is because we're gonna have next week we have 5 powerful speakers. And one of them is a friend of mine called Della Toro. I'm telling you, Della Toro, he is doing the keynote for the National Speakers Association. He has a program called Crush the Stage. He's been on Good Morning America, USA Today. He's an author and he supports women entrepreneurs. He is going to be one of our speakers for next week. And Kiani is going to come back because she's like, Tina, I am train lagged. She didn't say that, I made that word up, but she's like, hey, I've been on a train for 9 hours. I'm like, hey, it's okay. And so Kiani, will you come back next week with Della Toro and a very, 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 very special guest? I'm not going to spill the beans now, but I just want to give you a personal invitation to come right back because I want you. Today we talked about who you are and what you do. But when you return next week, Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern for a Sunday speaker series sponsored by Global Women Speakers, I want you to share with them exactly what you do and how you can help them build a bigger business, a scalable business, how you can put their business on steroids and allow them to 10x not just their income, but their relationships as well. Will you do that for me, Kiani?
Absolutely. I'll come back with all the goodies.
Woo! Uh-oh, that means they better register, right, Kiani? That means you guys have to register. You have to show up. She said all, she didn't say all the goodies. She said all the goodies. So I love it. So Kiani, the time now, we have 9 minutes left. What I would like to do, if you're open, may I open it up for Q&A? And we have Jen in the background. Hold on. We have Jen. She's a secret weapon. She is in the background. I want to bring Jen up to the forefront. Hey, Jen. Can you hear us?
Hey,
Jen?
ladies.
Hey.
Hello.
So Jen, you were backstage listening. Tell us some of the key takeaways that you got from Kiani.
Well, the first one, I think it is the most important one, is don't invest in your own backyard. Because we get too emotional, with everything. And sometimes that is not helping at all.
Wow. Okay. So number one, and that was one of the key nuggets that I got as well, Kiani, because I've never heard anyone say that. Do not start investing in your own backyard, right? Most people, they will buy a house next to their parents' house. They will buy a house next to their grandma's house. They're like, you know what? Their favorite neighborhood when they were a kid, like, I want to live over here. So they go buy a house. And you're absolutely correct. It is emotional. And women, we already know we are emotional. So we need to stay away from that. So Kiani, thank you for that. I actually am leaving LA to go to Detroit to look at some property. And I have no attachment at all in Detroit. It's not a place that I want to live or whatever. So I am going to take your advice. And so Jen, what was your number two?
Well, when she was talking about all the things she had to go through to get success, I think we all do the same in our own way. Sometimes you are in another country, like myself, or even in your own country, and you're different, or you don't have the same vision. That's hard because people is gonna talk, and you try to be focused on your thing, but people is like, are you really gonna do that? And you know what? Get out. I don't want to see you. I'm going to do it, And I think that was
right,
brilliant. And I definitely got that idea, and I reflect myself on
it. Wow. I love it. Okay. And what is your number three?
Let's see. It's hard to get just
while you think of your number three, I'm gonna tell you mine. I am in a restaurant. Yes. So for those of you who are listening, I am still in Paris. I am in a restaurant, just had the most amazing lamb chop and potatoes, but they call them chips here, right? And so I like I'm blown away at one, the service around Paris. Number one, the people, it's a melting pot from people all over the world. The style, the fashion, of course, impeccable, but the food mwah, was delicious. And so I am literally in a restaurant and I am going to take off my backdrop. You know why? Because I want you to see it. And I know most people be like, oh my gosh, don't, why would you do? Because it's about transparency. I want you to know that just show up. The bottom line is just show up. Show up no matter what. This is my background. I am sitting in at a table in front of, as you can see, all the wines, jingles, hearts, hearts, hearts. And so, am I at a perfect place? No. Is it quiet? Absolutely not. But I made a commitment to my commitment of showing up every single Sunday for Sunday Speaker Series. And I'm going to do just that. I am going to do just that. And so, what is that thing that you said you were going to be committed to that you haven't done? January came, January 1, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do this every single day or once a week, or I'm going to write that book, start that podcast, I'm going to start that TV show, I'm going to work out. You fill in the blank. I'm going to save money, I'm going to get married, I'm going to settle down, and get this part. I'm going to get out of that dead end relationship. I'm going to quit that dead end job. There's no room for growth. Yeah, it goes the other way too, ladies. And so I wanted to share this with you to show that we here at Global Women Speakers, we're not perfect, but we show up and show out. We have 4 pillars: culture, community, communication, and collaboration. Speaking of collaboration, for those of you who are listening to the sound of my voice, reach out to Kiani as soon as possible and let her know that, hey, I saw you on Global Women Speakers, and now I am asking for that mentorship, or I'm asking for that blueprint. Tell her that. And not only that, say, you know what? I am going to be there on next Sunday, and I hear you're going to give all the nuggets, all the gems. And so, what is one thing I can do to prepare to receive those gems? Because it's kind of like fertilizing the land. Sometimes we have to get rid of stuff that's on the inside so we can grow something, right? Grow something fertile. Because you can't take dead soil and put seeds and expect it to grow. Am I right, Kiani? Am I right, Jen? Over to you.
Absolutely. Oh, it's so true. So true. And as you speak about New Year's resolutions, sometimes the hardest decision you'll ever make is starting. That first step is the hardest decision you'll ever make. And then the second one is probably the next question, which is, where do I start, or what do I do? So if growing your business is something that you want to do, I may be your next step.
That's powerful. That's powerful. So, Kiani, do you believe in New Year's resolutions, and have you ever made any? And if so, what were they? So, number 1, do you believe in them? Number two is, have you made any?
So I don't do the traditional New Year's resolution as such, but I'm big on goal setting. And as you can tell, I've grown my businesses. You've got to have goals to achieve, and you've got to have milestones in order to achieve and reach those goals. So my New Year's resolution for me this year was a big giant piece of butcher's paper on my window at home on my balcony with colored markers like a child, drawing out what my plan for the next 12 months was going to be. And it wasn't just I'm going to do one thing. It was this is what I'm going to do every month for the next 12 months. This is what I'm going to dream. This is what I'm going to create. This is what I'm going to have in the next 12 months, because it's not greedy. It's a dream. We're all allowed to dream. And the only way those dreams will become true is if you write them down and you put actions in place every single day towards achieving those goals. So I'm a little bit of an overachiever when it comes to New Year's resolutions.
Wow. You know what? I love that. And so did you write them down, or you just vocalize them?
Oh, no. They're on my butcher's paper. They're in colored markers. There's pictures, there's drawings, there's everything. And it's stuck on my wall right next to my bed. I look at it every day.
Wow. I love that. So, Jen, what about you? Do you make New Year's resolutions? And if so, what were they?
We don't do that in Venezuela, but I do. I do my list with all the things that I want to do, the ones that I did last year, whether they were in the first list or not. I just, go and write it. And for me, resolutions is something that I do every day. At 11:11, I just start giving thanks for everything that I have, for everything that I want, and my resolutions for this week or tomorrow. I just do it like that. What are they? Be there, like you said, like you always said, show up with my business, try to get the idea or change the idea of
Pause, break, pause,
bus
break,
rate.
pause, break, pause, break. Okay, so speaking of your business, you have a phenomenal business. You've helped me, you've helped a lot of women, part of Global Women Speakers, with their businesses. And that's just what you do. Like, you are a brand astrologer. Most people don't know what that means. So, really quickly, if you can tell us what that means, give them your website, because Jen, I'm inviting you back as well, because I've learned so much from you. Like, wow, like you can take my birthday and tell me how I will behave or what time I need. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to steal the thunder because I can't. I'm just going to be the sunshine and shine some light on you. You go ahead and share exactly what you do. Just tell them
Yeah.
really quick. They got to come back next. They got to come back next week to hear more about it. But tell them
Yep.
what you do, and then give them your website. Jen, over to
Yeah, it's not only your birthday. Actually, it could be your business birthday. The day you went to register your business, that's the date your business was born. With that date, we could also do the birth chart and analyze finances. Where do you need to launch a service or product? And we do that with personal branding or with business companies or whatever. So it is really cool because we could know if you have an idea or a meeting, you need to launch a product or a course. We could analyze the weekly transits and see what day is better for you to launch that product or service.
That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
it's unbelievable, Kiani. Like, I was like, at first,
Jen, I'm
honestly,
coming to you.
yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes. This is
it's cool.
awesome. That's exactly why the fourth C of Global Women Speakers is what Jen is. What, Kiana? What's the fourth C of Global Women Speakers? Culture, community.
Collaboration,
Yes,
community.
collaboration. You're right. That's exactly what it is. So collaboration is what we are, is what we embody. It is in our mere fabric, it's in our DNA. And so, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, hashtag YouTube. For those of you who are watching literally on LinkedIn, go ahead and put LinkedIn in. For those of you who are simply just now getting in, you missed the salsa, the mesa, the crunch. You missed it. But guess what? Next week, because we're in Paris right now. Are you in Paris, Kiani?
I'm in Paris.
So really quickly before we go, our time is up. This was the shortest ever. This was the shortest ever Global Women Speakers Sunday Speaker Series. Am I correct, Jen? How
Yep,
long was our first one? How long was our first one?
14 hours,
14 hours. How long was the second one?
12 hours.
12 hours long. We had the amazing Les Brown, the number one motivational speaker in the world. We've had Kate Hancock, as I shared, who took $20. Yes, $20. And she created $20 million out of that 20. She has 3 hotels in the Philippines. She's amazing. We also had Derrick Harper Sr., who has 25 businesses, and 2 of them are 8-figure. And now we get to add the Kiani Mills, the 7-figure realtor from Australia, on that. And here's the deal: she has a skill set, she has a toolkit where she can help you do exactly that. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not about us, it's about you. And we are simply not a dam, we are a bridge, we are a conduit, we are a purveyor. And show up on Sunday and be ready to execute. And so I'm going to give you 3 things that you can do to be prepared for next week. Kiani is going to give you 3 things that you can do to be prepared next week. And Jen is going to give you 3 things she wants you to do so you can be prepared next week. So we're going to start with Jen, then Kiani, and then myself, and we're going to close this out. So really quickly, go to globalwomenspeakers.com, complete our intake form. And if this is your first time here and you're here because of Kiani, and it says which amazing woman referred you, put Kiani's name on there. If it's Jen, put Jen's name there. If it's me, put anybody's name on there, because I do have an amazing referral partnership program. And I can just tell you this, loyalty pays, loyalty pays. I'm all about building multiple streams of income. And that's exactly one of the streams of income that you can find within Global Women Speakers. And so, Jen, over to you. 3 things that they can do to prepare for next week when they show up, because you know my saying, you got to show up if you want to go up. You got to show up if you want to blow up. So with that being said, Jen, over to you.
Well, they could reach out to me in social media, in Facebook or my website, and send me the birth date, place, and time, exact time and exact place. So I could, I don't know, give like for free, analyze.
Wait. Pause break. Did you say give them an analyst for free, complimentary? Did you say that?
3 things. I'm going to analyze 3 things: sun sign, rising, and moon sign.
Sun sign, rising, and moon sign. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Wow. I listen. I told you membership has its privileges. If she's going to give you that complimentary, we pay for it. I'm the founder of Global Women Speakers, and I pay for it. So I can tell you this: get your analysis. It's totally worth it. So Kiani, what about you? What are 3 things they could do to prepare for you speaking on Sunday, next Sunday, which is next Sunday is the 19th of March. Can you guys believe that the first quarter is almost over? It's almost over. Kiani, take it away.
I would love everybody to sit down and have a really hard think and look at where your business is right at this moment and where you want it to be in the next 12 months, because that's where we're going to make a massive impact. So sit down, see where you're at. Second thing, bring a pen and paper. We're going to get active. We're going to do some actual work. We're going to write some numbers. So get ready to use your brains. And number 3, as you said, reach out, get in contact. I'd love to hear from everyone and anyone that's on right now. So let's get the conversation started now, so we're all ready to go next week.
Boom, mic drop. I love that. Thanks, Kia. See, I told you, listen, she says she has train leg, but the reality is, do you see she's on fire? That's the song I played in the beginning, and that's because she's exactly that. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I want to give you 3 things of structure, 3 things of attention to prepare for next week. I just said we're going to have Della Toro, who is a master at storytelling. So I want you to think to yourself, what is the story that you want to tell? What is that you want to share from the stage? What is that you want to offer? Is it a product? Is it a service? And I can tell you this, he has been trained by the best of the best. Did I tell you, did I share with you that he is the keynote speaker of NSA, National Speakers Association? I get tongue-tied talking about him because the fact that God has aligned me with these people is unbelievable. So number 1 is, what is your story? Be prepared to take notes, be prepared to execute, be prepared to tell us what is your story. Number 2, the second thing I want you to do is, if you want to sponsor, we will say our Sunday speaker series is sponsored by your business. Send me an email. Send me an email at speak@globalwomenspeakers.com. Speak@globalwomenspeakers.com. So if you even want to speak in Madrid on the 20th and 21st, email me, speak@globalwomenspeakers.com. And so the third thing that I want to say is, don't show up alone. Because here's the deal. We all want knowledge. And I can tell you this. Have you ever gone to a show, a play, a mall, or somewhere and said, dang, I wish I would have had Kiani with me. I wish I would have brought Jen with me. She would have loved this. If you have ever done that, ladies and gentlemen, if you have ever done that. You don't want to do that this time. You don't want to do that this time. I'm going to ask you to go to Global Women Speakers on Instagram. We literally just built the Instagram. And so you're going to see all of our speakers there. They're going to have their links so you can follow them. You're going to have free downloads. Yeah, we have that inside the group as well, but you're going to have it on Instagram too. We are simply doing some pretty incredible things individually and corporately. And so I'm going to bring Jen and Kiani back to the stage. And so number one, those three things. Number one, intentional. Come with your story. Number two, I want you to bring somebody with you. Number three, I want you to go to globalwomenspeakers.com, complete the intake form. And if you want to speak or sponsor, go ahead and send me an email at speak@globalwomenspeakers.com. I am going to bring Kiani back. I am going to bring Jen back, just so we can say a group goodbye, just so we can give you a group goodbye. So with that said, ladies, on the count of three, let's do our wave, and we're going to end this broadcast for today. Because ladies, I want you to remember, even though International Women's Day is over, it is still Women's Month. It is Women's History Month. And ladies, the reason why I say it says Women's History, but it's Women's Her Story Month. It is Women's Her Story Month. And our stories are not over. We are still in the process of making history. With that being said, goodbye for now. My name is Dr. Tina D. Lewis, and you have just experienced Sunday Speaker Series of 2023, sponsored by Global Women Speakers. Good night for now.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
See you next week.
See you next week. Good night.